Good morning. We are in the pre-operative ward now. We're all settled in. We have been here for nearly 2 hours actually, so quite some time already. Oh, it's the morning of Elin's surgery. I suppose we are now expecting things to go ahead unless there is something very last minute that happens. Oh wow, I'm tired. So I didn't actually go to bed until midnight, and I had to be up really early this morning because we needed to set off at 6 o'clock. And Elin's feeding protocol pre-surgery is no solids after 2 a.m. Well, that's no problem because we never feed her overnight, and no liquids after 6 a.m. She's allowed a little bit of water here on the ward, but I basically had to have her up before 6 o'clock in the morning and give her her medicines. And then we actually had to be in the car at 6 o'clock and rolling. We weren't, we were late, which means that we were late here, but also with the social distancing, it takes a little extra time to get people into the ward and it's a bit of a longer queue. So, end of the day, didn't actually matter that we were late. Gave Elin her medicines and some water, and she promptly threw it all up. And she's been trying to retch and throw up since then, so, you know, we're doing well. What happened after that? We got in the car, we drove to Cambridge, parked up, grabbed what I figured were the most important bags. So that is spare clothes and nappies for Elin, and her suction, and all of my vlogging and tech equipment. Because that's what's important. And yeah, that's still an awful lot to carry. You know, I feel like I've moved in and I've still got things in the car. Like I've got my food and my coffee in the car, I've got her food in the car, and I really need some coffee. 7:15 arrival at the ward, although we were kind of here at 7:30, and it's now 9:30, so we've been in for 2 hours. Elin is third on the list to go into theatre, so it's going to be around lunchtime. They say that they are unsure of how long the other operations are going to take, so it could be just before lunch or it could be just after. And now we wait.
Yeah, great.
Now we wait. I have only had 1 mug of coffee today, so that clearly isn't enough. Here at the ward they only have instant, which clearly isn't okay. So I spoke to the ward nurse, and somebody's going to come and sit with Elin while I run down to the car and get my proper coffee. You know you're a seasoned medical mama when you bring real coffee with you. We have been seen by the anesthesiologists who came in and they went through her GA protocol again and the sort of changes we do to help Elin, including the clonidine afterwards, and we talked about the fact that she is very upset when she comes out. We talked about how difficult Elin is to cannulate. Now she actually remembers Elin from last time, and that's 2.5 years ago, so that's really kind of cool that she does. So she remembers that Elin was difficult to cannulate. So she suggested we put in a midline. If we can find a good vein in Elin's arm, they're going to put in a longer cannula. So I'm starting to learn more phrases now. Midline is just a fluid IV, but a longer cannula, and a central line is a total parenteral nutrition, and that goes in the neck. So she's not going to have that this time. That's the one we're talking about for her hip surgery, but a midline is going to be put in today. Because if we don't need it, there's no harm in having it. If we do need it, it needs to be put in while she's asleep. And it might actually last marginally longer. Oh, my little girl, she's a nightmare. So we talked about that. That was a very good chat. We have been seen by the pediatric recovery ward nurse. So she's now clued up on the fact that Elin is very difficult coming out of GA. She's going to be on clonidine, but even on clonidine, she's still going to be crying and be very upset for a few hours. They asked me if she gets seizures coming out of GA, and I don't actually know, is the honest answer. I mean, I know that Elin comes out of GA's furious, hysterical, really upset and difficult to deal with. But I don't know if she has seizures because it's that long ago. So she had a GA when she was 3 years old, and she screamed herself blue in the face for 6 hours. And then the next GA was 2.5 years ago, and that's the first time we used clonidine, and she was upset for 2 hours. I mean, it's an enormous difference because, you know, she kept breathing. and I could reach her. She responded to me. So very, very different experience. Hence we're doing clonidine again. And we have been seen by the enteral nurse who explained how to use the Mickey button, how the extension sets work. There was a lot of information. And she's left me a hefty notepad here as well. What notepad? But all of this is about buttons. But one thing that, oh my god, I'm elbowing my child in the face. One thing that was actually really kind of cool is that she let me take a photo of the size difference between the tube she has now and the button they're gonna put in. So I'm gonna insert that photo here. So obviously the button is significantly thicker, which is great for the blended diet. What I didn't realise is that the extension tube is really narrow. It's actually more narrow. So that might not actually make it any easier to get thicker blends in. I suppose the difference is that it's rigid. So I don't know if that's going to make a difference. I mean, I know people put thicker blends down a Mickey than they do a peg. Yeah, I'm confused. Help me out. If you know this, help me out. And what else have we done? We've been seen by another ward nurse. We've been seen by a couple of ward nurses, just checking in and going through a few more questions, again about allergies and wobbly teeth and that kind of stuff. So with this second ward nurse, because Elin kept throwing up this morning, she's fairly settled now, which is good, and she seems to be keeping in this water that I'm giving her nice and slow. But I said to her, Elin hasn't actually kept any fluids down since last evening. So is it worthwhile us getting an IV line in now? And she's going to take this up with the doctor and see. And someone's going to come and sit with Elin while I go and get my coffee. Because I'm going to need my coffee. Oh, and snacks. I'm actually getting really hungry. I've had 2 nut bars for breakfast in the car coming here. I didn't have time for anything else. Yeah, and we wait. It's boring.
Let's just move this in here a minute.
She's third on the list to go into theatre, so it's not going to happen until around lunchtime. And I suppose then at lunchtime I am eating while she's in surgery, because I'm really going to have an appetite then. Oh, we are so fed up with this now. It's 2:15 and she's still not gone into theatre. So when they said late lunch, this is beyond a late lunch. One of the student nurses took her for a spin around the corridors and sang from the top of his lungs for her, and she loved him. She was giggling out loud. So that was good. Whilst I went and got my coffee making paraphernalia, so I've caffeinated again, which, you know, regular top-ups needed. A very, very long wait, and she's been a very, very long time without any food now. So I hope that they're gonna come for her very soon, that it really isn't too much longer to go now. And she is in surgery. I left the room where they put her to sleep at 3:15. So yeah, that was a long wait, a really long wait. But she's there, they've got her in hand, they are absolutely the best team to look after her. I'm having lunch. Finally having lunch. Mixed feelings. I'm so relieved that it's finally happening. I mean, there's so many, oh my god, it's finally happening. There's finally she's having this surgery, and finally she's actually in theatre. But yeah, it's always difficult to put your child through this. Yeah. But I'm gonna eat because I have to keep my blood sugar levels up and my energy levels up. And then I'm gonna look after her in recovery. So thank you so much for watching. The next vlog will possibly be recovery after the surgery, or it'll be one of the many other vlogs I've got planned around this peg journey. But as always, hit the subscribe button if you're not already subscribed. There's a whole list of these vlogs around the peg surgery to go, and then the general life updates as we do them. We'll see you again soon. Bye.